Young and the Restless spoiler. The plot you've outlined is full of tension, betrayal, and intrigue. It presents a complex web of relationships between law enforcement and personal motivations, making it a gripping storyline. The conflict between Paul and Chance, rooted in a sense of justice versus personal feelings, adds depth to the narrative. The fact that Chance is torn between his duty and his desire to protect Sharon gives his character a moral dilemma that could be explored further. Meanwhile, Paul's determination to bring the truth to light and hold everyone accountable keeps the stakes high. This plotline could create a lot of suspense and drama, especially with the secrets, emotional conflict, and ultimate confrontation. The story has a strong foundation for a compelling narrative, where characters' loyalty, love, and sense of duty are in constant conflict. I'll work on expanding this into a detailed, engaging story, keeping all these dynamics in mind. Let's get started. Title: The Thin Line Between Duty and Deception. Paul had always prided himself on his sharp instincts. As one of Genoa City's most seasoned investigators, he had learned to trust the gut feelings that told him when something, or someone, wasn't right. His instincts were ringing loud and clear now, as he carefully monitored every move Chance made. Paul had personally seen to it that Chance was reinstated at the Genoa City Police Department, advocating for him when others questioned his abilities. But that trust now felt misplaced, as Paul's suspicions about Chance's loyalties grew stronger each day. It had started as a routine murder investigation, one that had rocked the community. Heather, a beloved figure in the city and close to many, had been found dead under mysterious circumstances. For Paul, this was personal. Heather hadn't just been another case, she had been someone he cared about deeply. The idea that her death might go unsolved, or worse, that justice might be intentionally obstructed, was something Paul couldn't tolerate. There was no way Heather would be another unsolved casualty, her life extinguished without accountability. Chance was supposed to be the one to help him uncover the truth. After all, Paul had put his own reputation on the line to get Chance back into the department. It had seemed like the right move at the time. Chance had always been dedicated to his work and committed to seeing justice served. But now, Paul was beginning to wonder if he had made a grave mistake. Despite Chance's outward dedication, his recent behavior was raising too many red flags. Paul knew he couldn't ignore them. Chance had been acting strangely ever since his return. His reports were vague, and he seemed oddly protective of certain leads, particularly those involving Sharon, the prime suspect in Heather's murder. Paul had noticed the way Chance's eyes would soften when Sharon's name was mentioned, the way he would steer conversations away from any real evidence that pointed toward her involvement. It didn't take long for Paul to piece it together. Chance wasn't just protecting Sharon as part of his job, he was emotionally invested in her. Sharon had always had a way of getting under people's skin, drawing them into her world with her vulnerable charm. But this time, Paul couldn't allow it. He had already lost too much to this case, and he wouldn't let Chance's feelings get in the way of justice. Sharon was guilty, Paul was certain of it. The evidence was there, but Chance, blinded by his desire to protect her, refused to act on it. That was where Paul would have to step in. Paul began his own investigation, quietly collecting evidence that Chance was not only withholding information but actively working to shield Sharon from prosecution. Every lie, every omission, was carefully documented. Paul was nothing if not methodical. He could see the pieces of the puzzle falling into place. Chance's betrayal wasn't just professional, it was personal. He had violated the sacred trust of their partnership, and for what? To protect a murderer? The weight of the evidence was growing heavier with each passing day. Paul knew it was only a matter of time before he had everything he needed to confront Chance directly. He had to be cautious, though. Chance was still a respected figure within the department, and if Paul moved too soon, he risked blowing the entire operation. He couldn't afford any mistakes. Not when Heather's death hung over him like a dark cloud, demanding answers. Chance, for his part, was walking a tightrope. He had always been a man of principles, someone who believed in the law and in justice. But Sharon was different. There was something about her that had reached into the depths of him, stirring feelings he hadn't expected. He knew she was involved in Heather's death, he wasn't naive, but he couldn't bring himself to turn her in. Maybe it was her desperation, her insistence that things weren't as simple as they seemed.